Skyler, my friend?
Yes, Brandon, my friend?
I believe we're about to take a most excellent adventure through cinema. Excellent!
Time for a history lesson as Brandon and Skyler take a most triumphant trip through the circuits of time.
Whoa!
A heinous detour through the pits of hell.
Bogus!
And their final destination, the possible end of the universe.
No way!
In this episode, Brandon and Skyler will try to unite the world with the power of podcasting. Will they succeed? Or will they dance with the Reaper? Find out as our favorite hosts face the music inside the Video Vault.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. We're your hosts,
Brandon
and Skyler, and you have entered
the Video Vault.
And today our main topic is a most excellent main topic.
Yeah.
But first, before we talk about our favorite dudes from San Dimas, we need to talk about our listener comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes we
some
do.
Comments.
Okay, so the first one comes from a woman named Elizabeth.
Oh.
Long-time listener, long-time commenter. It's my mom.
Every time.
She's commenting from episode 3. One of my favorite martial arts movies is Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Also, Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was never a big fan of martial arts movies, though, until Jackie Chan. My favorite part was the blooper reel at the end. He does all his own stunts, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rumble in the Bronx, dude, is like...
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's just...
so funny, too.
So good.
So nutty.
So wacky and weird, and yeah. And particularly because that's the one that ends with him breaking his leg, right?
Yeah. And he put on the...
Yeah, and then they put the
shoe.
fake shoe pant leg.
Yeah, over his cast. He's nuts, man.
He's insane. I can't believe it. Yeah. He's just like, I'm just going to do it.
Oh, man.
He has some great... we didn't talk enough about Jackie Chan. We'll have to do a Jackie Chan episode. Because he has some great quotes about, like... I guess we'll have to talk about him a little bit in the Edgar Wright episode.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. Because, you know, his approach to filmmaking of, like, you know... you get it right to be impressive because it's going to be on film forever. You know, you don't like do, not that I think you shouldn't use CGI or like effects or anything, but you know, in Jackie Chan's mind, it's like you don't do that when you could just do the stunt until you get it right. Because once you get it right, you got it on film, and it's gonna be in the movie.
Yeah.
So like, you know, and it looks better than.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they do take after take after take.
I think he did there's that trick he does. I forget what movie it's in where he flips the fan and he does it like 200 times.
Oh,
and he's like, but I did it. Like you know, like it took me 200 times. But
that's why his blooper reels are so funny too. Cause we see the takes over and over and over. Him getting beat up and everything's hilarious. Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, like he's great, and Jean-Claude Van Damme too. Like although he stars in a lot of like B movies. He has like a presence about him, you know, that like really cool.
Yeah, he's just
Universal Soldier, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. That ad where he did the splits between the two semi trucks.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was awesome. And that also is one of my favorite riffs from Mr. Science Theater when they're watching Future War and they see the main character and one of them goes, "Hey, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme," and I think it's Mike who goes, "More like Jean-Claude gosh darn."
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot.
Some of the best quotes.
Should we take something from the website, from the email?
Yeah, man.
All right. Okay. So this is from our brand new website, trumanpictures.com.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. But we worked really hard on it, and I think it came out really great. I'm really happy with it. You can also stay up to date with the Video Vault podcast on the website. The website updates every time we upload a new episode of the Video Vault.
Oh yeah.
And I hope to expand that part of the website too, so we kind of like can refer back to like links and stuff because of something that Duncan said in one of his, our friend Duncan, friend of the pod, Duncan, something he said in his last email made me think about like, where could we put links back to some of the stuff we talk about? And so I was like, I could put a place for that on the website.
Yeah.
Like in the video vault section, which would be really nice.
Lines up.
But anyway, so this this is a message directly from our website, which I just think is so exciting.
Sweet.
Name, Duncan. Business, none of yours. Subject, waffle.
Hey.
Message. Afternoon, gents. Long-time listener, third-time caller. I've just finished listening to episode 3. It took a while. Your podcasts are long. Sorry, Duncan. Sorry we like talking. Enjoying the chat. Always good to hear folk who are undeniably passionate about any topic.
Oh.
Thanks for reading out my rambles. I've had people coming up to me on the street and asking me if I'm that Duncan, the one that got mentioned on the podcast. Long story short, I've sold the rights to my life story. Tom Cruise is lined up to play me. He's been practicing my running style. Can I jump back to the school media chat? Somehow I forgot to mention Buffy. How on earth can a discussion take place about school life and media without mentioning this classic?
Yeah.
Surely you guys are Buffy fans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
God, I love Buffy.
Buffy. I've only seen a few episodes of Buffy.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
That's another one I grew up watching as a kid. I played the video games too. I still have the original one, the first one on the Xbox, the original Xbox. It's so much fun. It was so creepy as a kid. Oh man, I was watching it again the other day, just a few weeks ago.
And of course, Buffy is Joss Whedon, which you know is just a lot of like nerd culture. You know, Doctor Horrible, and of course the Avengers and Age of Ultron, and
lots of actors in
first Justice League.
In Buffy as well. First Justice League, the second half that wasn't finished.
But yeah, a lot of actors from Buffy going on to do. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Lots of spin-offs from Buffy as well.
Yeah.
We had an Angel, the Angel spin-off.
Yes, yeah, Angel, yeah.
Really awesome.
Yeah, really awesome. And who doesn't love Sarah Michelle Gellar?
I know, so cool.
Yeah. And the original Buffy movie also is pretty entertaining with Christy Swanson.
Right.
And Paul Rubens is in that movie too.
He is.
Which always cracks me up.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
He continues. Kung Fu action though? Right. Thinking Cap went on for this. There are so many to pick from. Here's a list in no particular order. Once Upon a Time in China. The first time I saw Jet Li. Man, that dude can fight.
Yeah.
Ong Bak. Muay Thai counts, right?
I love that one.
Just some properly physical fighting action with some damn fine stunts and set pieces chucked in for good measure.
Oh, yeah.
Shaolin Soccer. Hilarious.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Classic.
Fightiness with football. Kung Fu Hustle. See above, but without the football.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Zatoichi. The 2003 Takeshi Kitano film.
Yeah, the Blind Swordsman.
I saw this in the cinema with Jazz, my wife, not the freeform
cool.
music. Such a good film. It blends different styles and so interestingly cinematic. Inspired by your excitement and joy for Cobra Kai, I started watching it, enjoying so far, but I'm awaiting the appearance of Will Smith's kid. Apologies for the rambles. Oh, are you going to do an Edgar Wright episode? Peace out.
Oh,
I can guarantee you that is not one episode.
Yeah.
We're not going to do an Edgar Wright episode.
Multiple.
We're going to do multiple.
Like 4 of them, maybe
Edgar
5
Wright
or 6.
Yeah, well, I probably just one for each movie, honestly. I can talk about all those movies like
and
individually. And Spaced, yeah. We got to get Duncan on. Duncan, we got to get you on for the Spaced episode.
Yeah, everybody can hear your voice.
Yeah. Because I feel like I don't do your emails justice, Duncan.
Yeah. They're hilarious.
They're just too good. Let's see. What's another comment that we got? Moving on to the adult animation episodes. Let's see. Our friend Donnie says Moral Oral, which we did talk about.
The adult animation.
He says I would watch it early in the morning, 6 a.m., getting ready for school when I was 7. And I said, Jesus Christ. And then I added you in this, but you didn't reply. Was it you who watched home movies in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would home movies, and then they would also play sometimes Space Coast, Coast to Coast.
Yeah, we didn't talk about home movies a lot in the last episode, but
we mentioned it.
Home movies is definitely we referenced it a lot because constantly I will say, Brendan, you always fix it. You always say you're gonna fix it and post it, and you never do.
It's like one of my favorite quotes.
And I also love when Coach McGurk is gonna teach him. Golf, and he's like walking up the driving range, and Brendan's like, Coach, why are you walking in front of me in the middle of the driving range? I could have killed you. Well, I figured the way you were hitting the ball right in front of you was the safest place to be. And he gets hit with a golf ball. And he's like, "Oh, son of a bitch."
Who's voiced by H. John Benjamin.
H. John Benjamin, that's right, yeah.
And then Brendan Small would go on to do Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
Another great show.
Yeah. Well, speaking of H. John Benjamin, we have our friend Miguel says Archer by far, which we did talk about. Archer. There's that great Archer ep where he's undercover at Bob's Burgers.
they're all wearing the costumes.
Yeah, they're all in the Archer style, which is like very strange to look at. And then we got a comment on Twitter from Mia. I think any anime that's not afraid to be dark, gritty, and human. So like Dorohedoro is the latest one I've loved because I think the aesthetic is perfect for the story. So that's the one that I told you about last time that definitely need to watch. It's really good.
You watch that one.
And good shows like Devilman Crybaby also really wowed me in terms of how they adapted a 70s manga. Devilman Crybaby is very good.
I think I've heard of it.
Very violent and sexual. There is a moment in that show that I was like, they really did that? Like, it's very sexually charged.
My God.
Yeah. But it's really good. It's just kind of depressing. And she goes on, and of course you have amazing series like Attack on Titan that show the raw emotions of what it really means to be human and part of humanity. Attack on Titan is great.
Oh, yeah.
And they got a different animation studio to do this final season coming up.
Interesting.
And it looks really good. I think it's the same studio that did Dorohedoro, actually. And then I also think anime with human themes like Fruits Basket are also very adult while also being for everyone because of the themes, even if it's a shoujo manga series. Yeah, so I think that too, like just because something doesn't have to be targeted at children just because it doesn't have like sex and violence and like foul language,
right.
You know? Because some stuff is just more... it's just going to go over the kid's head. Right. Not that kids aren't... I always say kids are smarter than we think they are, but there are, certain like themes and things that it's like tough to...
Yeah, translate.
Yeah.
That's something we mentioned too in the episode that, watching adult animation now as an adult is like... It's like finding it again because you actually understand a lot more of the themes and jokes.
Yeah, it's like getting to... Because if you liked it when you were a kid, it's like eating a meal you had as a kid.
Yeah.
And you're like, I remember liking it so much. And then you eat it and it actually tastes just as good. Yeah. And you're like, oh, yes, that's exactly what I remember it tasting like.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's the best. It happens very rarely, but, it's kind of like that is that feeling.
Yeah.
And she says, and of course I love stuff like F is for Family. Yeah. Bob's Burgers, Super Jail, and Robot Chicken.
Oh, yes.
Adult Swim and Toonami really led me to what I really enjoy as far as adult animation goes. Also, Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue. Oh my God.
I don't know that one.
So Perfect Blue, let me quickly, this is why it's good to have the laptop right here. So Perfect Blue is, okay, let me quickly read you the little synopsis here. A singer quits her band to become an actress and sheds her good girl image to further her career. Okay, so that's a very, that's a little simplified. It's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to it than that. But you got to check it out because really talking about it in any way kind of spoils it. And it's better, even if you don't watch it, it's better to discover that story as like yourself as you're looking into it.
Yeah.
But
97, huh?
But yeah, 97. Yeah.
Interesting.
So then we have our friend of the pod, Jim.
Hey, Jimmy.
Says, Disenchanted is fun. Castlevania is dope.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I know more, but someone is bound to say them. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So Disenchanted is pretty good. I like Futurama and of course The Simpsons. So we actually didn't talk a lot about The Simpsons.
Yeah.
In that last episode.
We could have a Simpsons episode.
Yeah,
really
we should.
Good.
I mean, I'm dying to talk about the movie because The Simpsons movie I think is like super underrated.
Oh yeah.
As a movie.
Mm.
When I posted on Facebook about this, I said I remember how much I enjoyed Rick and Morty when it first premiered. Which like the first episode I saw was with Scary Terry. Yeah, that's the first one I saw. And
that was the first one I saw too.
I was like, this is so good. Like I couldn't believe it. And remember, I texted Carlos like right away. I was like, have you watched Rick and Morty? Yeah. Like it was some new thing, which it was at the time.
Yeah.
And then now it's just like, Totally. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Can't go to the store or walk down the street.
I can't like think without the government, like without Adult Swim, like implanting Rick and Morty memes into my brain. Yeah. But I always loved Futurama, and I have some real fun memories from my first few semesters in college, watching new episodes of South Park with Mia, my sister, our friend Rachel, and Jim, while we all ate lunch.
Oh yeah.
Jim would always like bust out his laptop at lunchtime. Like we happened to all have lunch at the same time. Yeah. And he would bust out his laptop, and it would be like Wednesdays, so the new episode of South Park was out, so we would watch it all together.
It's so funny. Can't wait for the pandemic special.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I love all the comments of people being like, the only thing that was getting me through this pandemic and all this garbage is knowing that Trey and Matt had like something interesting to say about it. Yeah.
Just that one picture of the dude smoking cigarettes and writing.
Yeah. So then we got a comment from, we have some more comments, but we'll save them for next time. I have another email from Duncan, but, maybe I'll read it out at the end of this, but I wanted to move on to something else because, so our friend Rachel, who hosts her own podcast, Grab Bag Pod with her sister Riley.
Yeah.
Rachel commented, Clone High, lol, 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 lol. And the reason she put the lol, 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 lol is because on their podcast, Grab Bag Podcast, their latest episode was about Clone High, which apparently, two things apparently. Apparently, one, it is now a huge meme on TikTok, particularly the character of JFK.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
How, why?
And apparently, too, Rachel had no idea what Clone High was or had never heard of it or anything, which to some degree shocks me because, like, in all the years I've known you, Rachel, I've, like, Clone High is, like, totally your shit. Yeah. Like, Clone High is, like, I'm like, that's something we all could have, like, talked about. If me and Rachel and Mia and Jim are all sitting around watching South Park, like it could have just as well been Clone High.
Oh yeah. So funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Such a fun show.
And just, like, I love just the idea of JFK as like the jock, and like Lincoln as like this like nerdy like gangly dude. Yeah. Like,
so funny.
So funny.
Yeah. But Joan of Arc and Gandhi.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Clone High was an animated series on MTV. Yeah. Created by, and this is where I take issue with your description of it, Riley. So in the Grab Bag Pod, Riley explains to Rachel who created Clone High. It was Phil Lord and Chris Miller and Bill. Oh god dang it! I just had it in my head. Bill Lawrence, right? Yeah. So. First of all, Phil Lord and Chris Miller did go on to produce Spider-Verse, but they did not direct that film. Yep. And Riley says that they made it, which they did. They made the movie, but they produced it. Yeah. Which is great. But, fun fact, they also made the 21 and 22 Jump Street reboot films, which are hilarious. God, and they also made the first Lego movie. Yeah, Lego movie. They produced the second one, which is also why the second one is so good. Yeah.
And the first half of Solo.
The first half of production on Solo, they did. But no, so they're the ones who created that. Bill Lawrence is the only one out of those three who went on to create Scrubs, which Riley incorrectly says all three of them went on to create Scrubs, but Bill Lawrence was the only one who created Scrubs out of those three. So, ha ha ha. In your faces. No, I don't know. I don't know why. I was listening to the episode and it was like,
hey, wait a second.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, Riley, your research. I taught you better, Riley. I didn't.
Clearly.
I did not. But yeah, dude, and we didn't talk about Clone High in the adult animation episode. No. So I also thought it was a good opportunity to bring that up again because I was like, hey, what the heck? How come we didn't talk about Clone High? But I honestly didn't see a lot of Clone High until Carlos had actually told me about it. That's this whole podcast. Whenever we talk about stuff that we had never, or that got introduced to us later on, if we didn't discover it as a kid, it's like Carlos told us about it. Yeah. It's like half of my stories. It's like Carlos told me about this thing.
Yeah, you got us into that.
Yeah. But yeah, Clone High is very good. The whole series is on YouTube. If you want to watch it, it is very funny and very weird. Oh, dude, the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Yeah, sorry, Brandon is scrolling through IMDb right now, and I could see that he looked up the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones.
It's got the guy who was in the Bill and Ted series. That's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
tie into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But anyway, so that's my grab bag call out today.
Yeah.
So
most excellent.
Yeah. Now we have beef.
Oh yeah.
No, we don't.
Right under the bus with you.
But legitimately, you guys should listen to the Grab Bag Pod with Rachel and Riley, because Rachel wrote some very interesting fan fictions when she was younger, and now Riley gets to read them back to her as an adult, and it is that's hilarious, very funny.
That sounds great.
They're very funny. And if you know Rachel and Riley, their dynamic is, they're siblings, but like to fault.
Yeah.
It's like, when you got a sibling that you just kind of like, yeah.
Definitely.
It's just constant. When I know Rachel and Riley through the children's theater that I've worked with for the last decade, and working with them all that time has been so funny and so fun, because they just dunk on each other all the time, and it's so funny. And in fact, I remember, so Riley was just this sweet little goofy little kid, and she just had this kind of like personality about her. So when I was directing Aladdin, we were doing a production of Aladdin, Mia was helping me with that, my sister, and I leaned over to her and I was like, what do you think if I made Riley the Sultan? Because she just, like, I could totally see her being the Sultan from Disney's Aladdin. It was just so funny. And then Mia was like, oh, that'd be funny. And I was like, let's ask Rachel. And so I asked Rachel, and I remember Rachel's reaction. She was just like, she was like, oh my God, you have to do that. That'd be so funny. And to Riley's credit, she totally just went, like, she dove headfirst into that role. She was this, like, she wasn't like mad or like frustrated. Like she was the Sultan. Yeah, she was like, I'll do it. You're gonna make me the Sultan? I'll do it. And she played it like a champ.
Excellent.
And Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I forgot, I'm looking at the Wikipedia, I forgot they also did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is
another great movie.
Another hilarious. Like, underrated animated gem from the last like 10 years.
Oh yeah. Those guys are hilarious.
Or 12 years, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, 2009, so 11 years. Oh, my God.
Wow. Jeez.
But yeah, that movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's time for our recurring segment.
Oh, yeah.
Cool Internet Shit. No. Internet cool shit, as Brandon almost called it last time.
Shit, Internet cool.
So this time we have a prompt from Reddit. Again, another prompt from Reddit that I found that I thought was interesting that we could talk about. That seemed like it was easier to come up with examples than some of the other things from last week. This is from user Klauyu, KLOWYUWU. Chloe Uwu? I don't know. What story had a terrible plot but great characters? And I was like, you know what had the opposite?
What?
Which is like, don't get mad at me, okay? All you listening,
I already know.
Not Brandon.
I think I already know where this is going.
The opposite, which has a great plot but not great characters. I don't want to say terrible. Is almost any of his movies, but in particular. Inception.
I knew you were going to say it. I
knew it. Because look, Inception is a really cool plot. It is such a cool plot.
Yeah.
I almost think it might work a little bit better maybe as like a video game. I don't know.
Psychonauts.
I'm sorry. Look, Inception's a pretty solid
regular
movie.
Double Fine call out.
Yeah, I know. I almost wore my Psychonauts 2 shirt today, and I was like, "We're gonna mention it again on the pod."
Always do.
I think we haven't mentioned it in one episode.
Yeah, maybe just one.
Yeah,
it's slipped us by.
Yeah, we got to make sure we mention it in every episode.
So
that way, one day Tim Schafer et al. will
listen to any of our
they'll
episodes.
be like, "Oh, we got to get these guys are so annoying. Maybe if we acknowledge them,
they'll finally leave us alone.
And then we won't. Yeah. And then they'll be like, okay, just be our friends. And we'll be like, yeah.
If you give a mouse a cookie type thing.
Yeah. That's a good example. But I actually, before we continue with this question, I actually got to say, Anna, my compatriot for life, she got me the Double Fine Adventure documentary on Blu-ray. And so if you don't know what that is, listeners, what it is that Double Fine, the video game company that made Psychonauts, they made a Kickstarter because they wanted to make an adventure game, like a classic adventure game from like the 90s, like you point and click and there's like a story and you solve puzzles to progress the plot. And when they did that Kickstarter, part of it was that they wanted to make a documentary to show everyone, to be super transparent and show everyone this is what making video games is like. And I gotta tell you, all the extra stuff on the Blu-ray, like I haven't, because the series is free on YouTube.
Cool.
And on YouTube, you can watch it, but all the spoilers for the game are blurred out, and they even cut out certain things because it tells too many details about the game.
Yeah.
But the Blu-ray unblurs all that, and it adds in those scenes where they're more detailed about, like where they came up with a certain puzzle, or like, the plot points in the game where they're discussing that, which is really cool. The other thing that it has commentary from the people at Double Fine and from the group. So there's 2 commentaries for every episode. One from select people from Double Fine, who are featured in the episode or have to do with like if the episode's more about the programming, then they have all the programmers on the commentary. And then they have commentaries by the filmmakers who made the documentary. And I listened to all of the Double Fine commentaries, and it is just, it's hard for me to disassociate them from my mind as like people I don't know. Because it's like I've just spent so much time with these people that in my mind it's like, well, these are like my friends almost. I've spent 20 hours, 20 plus hours because of the extra content with the commentaries. Like,
so awesome.
And it's so insightful about how games are made, particularly at like an indie studio. But even then, like a lot of the people there have worked with or know the ins and outs of working at like AAA studios.
Yeah.
So they have insights about like how video games get made in AAA studios and stuff. And it's so like mind blowing and emotional and personal.
Yeah. And
I want to make a slight correction because last time I said, it can get kind of boring, but it's not that it get kind of boring. It's that like it gets so
overwhelming
a little bit with like the details. Like once you're deep into it, it's kind of like they're talking about the business. They're talking about like, here's how the programming works, which like, if you're not in it at that point, it's going to get like, you're going to glaze over. But if you're paying attention, it's so like interesting to see all the little details and like, and there was this great bonus feature about, kind of to tie it back to the question. There's a great bonus feature about how people responded to the second half of the game, because they famously had to split the game in half because they couldn't finish it as fast as they wanted to. And a lot of the people are just horrible. Like all the comments are just awful. Like they're just like, I feel like if I was going to make a game with $3 million that a bunch of people gave to me, I wouldn't split it up into 2 parts and make the second half sucky. But that's just me. And I'm like,
wow.
And obviously I've spent 20 plus hours with all these people who made the game watching the documentary. So I'm more empathetic
towards them.
Them.
Of course.
But like I'm also just like, these people worked hard on this thing. I don't want to like, I think it's really good. Totally I can't wait to show you the game and like play the whole game with you because it's great. It's just the story.
So proud of them.
Yeah,
great company.
It's great. So I cannot recommend that enough. Double Fine Adventure. It's free on YouTube, but I really highly recommend buying it on Blu-ray or DVD even, because the bonus features are like really great and it just looks way better. They like remastered the colors and everything for the Blu-ray and all that. So, awesome. So yeah, that's my little plug today as we talk about Double Fine. We've got about a minute left, but let's keep this question. What story had terrible plot but great characters? You got anything? I just feel like Inception, like again in that inverse thing, it's like the characters are so like the only interesting one is Cobb.
Yeah. But
then he's like so cold and like closed off.
It's just dudes in suits.
Yeah, it's just dudes in
suits.
Like it's so Ellen Page.
Yeah, like ugh.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's some cool visuals and the plot is really cool. I think there could be even more cool visuals.
It's just a cooler idea than executed.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But I can't think of a thing that had a terrible plot but great characters.
I really can't think of anything either.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I get frustrated by, which you could argue that they're not great characters, or I don't know. So, How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I like those characters.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of that plot. So it's not even like, it's not necessarily it was a terrible plot.
Yeah.
Or great characters, or terrible characters, but a great plot.
Right.
It's just that, like, the whole thing kind of, I don't know. I feel like it like left more to be desired. Similar
right.
to, like, the Inception thing, where I'm like, this is a really cool concept, and I like a lot of the elements at play here, but I want, like, more out of this, you know?
It's very unsatisfying.
Yeah. There seems to not be a lot of consensus in these comments either, because a lot of people on the show Once Upon a Time. Yeah, I mean, pretty much every porn ever. Would you say they're great characters? Like, they're not.
I would say Grand Theft Auto 5 for video games.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Trevor and Michael and Franklin were all pretty cool, but it just kind of dragged out. I don't know. I didn't think the story was that great compared to GTA 4 or something like San Andreas.
Yeah. Some people would argue Last of Us 2, but I think Last of Us 2 has a great story and great characters. This person says, I love the movie, but John Wick probably meets the criteria. The plot is paper thin. But I don't think that makes the plot terrible.
Doesn't make it bad, though.
I don't think that makes the plot bad. I think it's just, the movie
simple
is only it's only looking for the simple,
and it works.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah, I think it works. I don't think that's a terrible plot. I don't think a paper thin plot makes it bad. I think if you do something really cool with it, because it's not like it's steeped in, like, cool visual elements or something. It's just like a bunch of guys wrong this dude, this expert assassin, and so he goes and kills all of them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need... It's not like it's promising something more interesting like Inception, where it's like, we're going to go into people's dreams. Right. And it's like, oh, man, that's cool, because I dream about a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I watch the movie, and I'm like, they're on a snowy mountain, and the hallway flipped around in a hotel.
It's like, that's as crazy as
it's going to get.
Oh, damn. Shit.
But anyway,
15-year-old me will be thrilled.
Yeah, I guess that about wraps up the first section of the pod today. Thank you guys for listening. We will be right back for a most excellent adventure through cinema.
Excellent.
When we come back, we're going to talk all about the Bill and Ted trilogy, now trilogy. Of Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey, and Face the Music.
Maybe the series and cartoon too.
Yes, yeah, the whole Bill and Ted franchise, if you will. But
absolutely.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Please make sure to leave us comments wherever you're listening at, or just shoot us a message through our brand new website, trumanpictures.com.
We're real.
Yeah. All right. With all that being said, we will be right back.
Oh yeah.
And now for our last speaker, one of the greatest presidents in American history, Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
Score and 7 minutes ago, we, your forefathers, were brought forth upon a most excellent adventure, conceived by our new friends, Bill and Ted. these two great gentlemen are dedicated to a proposition which was true in my time, just as it's true today. Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
Righteous. This is the Video Vault with Brandon and Skyler.
Excellent! A huge thank you and shout out to our narrator, Darren Marlar, who has his own podcast called Weird Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Stories of the paranormal, supernatural, legends, lore, mysterious, macabre, unsolved.
Just in time for October.
Yes, yeah. So starting next episode, we're going to be doing, this is the last episode of September. Starting our next episode, we're going to be talking about some spooky stuff.
Oh.
Some spooky movies, spooky shows, maybe even some spooky games.
Nice. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. And Weird Darkness is a very spooky, very cool little podcast. Well, no, it's not little. It's award-winning, and it's very good. And that is our narrator, Darren Marlar, is the host of that podcast.
Narrator bro.
So thank you, narrator bro.
Yeah.
For working with us on this and creating the excellent openings and in-betweens for all things Video Vault.
Oh, yeah.
And with that out of the way, let's talk about our main topic today.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. So, Brandon, I was going to ask you, what was your first exposure to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? Because I want to know if everyone kind of has a similar story. I think a lot of people are introduced to Bill and Ted a certain way after the movie came out on VHS. I think there's a very specific way a lot of people were introduced to Bill and Ted.
I remember I was in the first grade, I think, 2001. And I think my dad just bought the DVD saying, you and Max would really like this. My brother and I, we ended up loving Bill and Ted so much. And then I remember shortly after that, Pizza Hut was doing like the promotional DVD giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was Mr. Mom. And
yes. Okay, I actually got Mr. Mom from that. Yeah.
And I got Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey from that one.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when I was like, there's another one? Cool. So we watched Bill and Ted eat pizza.
I had no idea because my dad really liked Mr. Mom, and Michael Keaton, John Hughes, great combo.
Yeah. It was his pre-Batman movie.
Yeah, that was like the one, that and Night Shift, which we have to talk about. Actually,
so funny.
Gosh, it was hilarious. Those sort of put Michael Keaton on the map. But I remember that's how I first saw Mr. Mom, was because of that Pizza Hut promotion. I don't recall Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey being part of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember getting it in the little sleeve and everything. And I was so excited.
The little sleeve. I think I still have my Mr. Mom copy from that.
I don't think, because I ended up getting the actual DVD box eventually too.
I've been dying to buy the Bogus Journey on Blu-ray. There's a great steelbook, but there's a great steelbook that it like goes in tandem with the first Blu-ray steelbook. And I'm like, oh, it'd be great to have those. But then I'm wondering, are they going to do Face the Music similarly? Because if they don't, then it feels like, well...
It's not the same, damn it.
Yeah, it'll be weird if they don't do it. So, maybe I'll wait. But anyway, well, that's sick.
Yeah. So in the first grade, I watched Bill and Ted and instant love for it.
I cannot remember when I first saw Bill and Ted, but I know it was in like elementary school or something. And I remember it was the kind of movie... I probably saw it on HBO. It was probably a movie of the month on HBO or something. And... I'm sure that it's not the kind of movie that my parents would be like, yeah, Bill and Ted, it wasn't like the Goonies or something where they were like, hey, here's this fun movie. It was, I feel like it was, because it's like right at the tail end of the 80s and it's like going into like that 90s culture almost. Like a lot of people would argue that Bill and Ted created a lot of like 90s culture to some degree. I feel like it wasn't quite their jam, my parents. So they weren't like, oh, check this out. It was more, I think it was a movie of the month on HBO, and that's how I saw it. And I know a lot of people around our age saw Bill and Ted in history class.
Right.
Because that first movie is, of course, all about...
history.
Yeah, history.
Man, I would have been thrilled if I had a history teacher.
Oh, yeah, we actually did. So I have this... I don't want to go on a tangent, but maybe I will.
As always.
As always. I have this teacher named Ms. McClure, who... I hate her.
So we're always talking about subs and teachers that gave us a bad time.
Well, because it's a long story, but long story short, she split up me and my friend Noah.
Oh, yeah, I know the story.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
And my mom was the vice principal at the time, and so, like, when that teacher brought up splitting up me and Noah because we distracted each other or whatever, some stupid reason, my mom kind of felt obligated to agree with her because, like, if she didn't, it would be like, well, you're playing favorites because that's your son.
Yeah.
So she did, and then I was not in class with my friends, so I really resented her for that.
No, I don't blame you.
Yeah, not my mom, the teacher.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I resent her for that too.
I understand why my mom was in it. Yeah, she was caught in a rough spot there. Yeah. So I get it, But anyway, so so Ms. McClure showed us Excellent Adventure, and I actually remember really specifically. This was such a funny thing. We were sitting there watching it, and I leaned over to Noah, and I was like, "This makes me want to watch." I called it Bogus Adventure. And then this girl that we know, Cassie, she turns around, Cassandra, Cassie, she turns around, she goes, "It's Bogus Journey." She was like so mad. I was like, "I'm sorry." But at the time, I wasn't as familiar with the movies. But Excellent Adventure is something that I grew up with. And also kind of it bled into other things that I grew up with because Jared Hess, who directed Napoleon, who wrote and directed Napoleon Dynamite, there was an interview with him where he was like, me and my siblings just watched Bill and Ted
all the time,
like ad nauseum. Like that was like, he was like, we spoke like Bill and Ted. Like they're like, my mom hated that we watched that movie because we would talk like Bill and Ted. Which they actually have a pretty sophisticated vocabulary and like syntax. Like the structure of Bill and Ted sentences
so strange.
Is very like kind of it's kind of sophisticated.
It's total California dude.
Yeah. There were many steps and columns. It was most tranquil. So let's talk a little bit about where Bill and Ted come from. Do you know the story of Bill and Ted, the origin of Bill and Ted?
I know the creators, Ed Sullivan and Chris Matheson.
Solomon,
yeah. They wrote it as themselves.
Yeah. It was like it was like an improv bit where they were like these two loser characters. And they would like do it. Like they would do it in front of people, like it was like a bit, like for an audience. And they even talk about doing it in like a coffee shop.
Wow.
Like they would just sit
Imagine
there.
Being there.
Yeah, they would just sit there and be Bill and Ted in the coffee shop.
That's hilarious.
And, have people like react around them. And they would ask random people like, do you know when the Mongols ruled China or whatever? Which is one of my favorite parts of the first movie.
I don't know. I just work here.
I don't know. I just work here. The beginning of that scene cracks me up too. The way he's like, the lady in that car over there said that Marco Polo was in the year... I forget what year. But yeah, so that's how it started, and they talked about, could this be like a movie? Is there something we could do with these characters? And so they write the movie, and originally the time machine was a van, and Rufus was like a 27-year-old senior at their school who had the time van.
Wow.
And very weird. And it kind of,
27.
Obviously, they couldn't stay with the time van for, like, there are obvious reasons for that.
Yeah.
We already have a time traveling car in America.
Yeah.
But what we don't have in America is a time traveling phone booth. Yeah.
England did, though.
England did, so,
for about 20 years
the UK
already.
did, yeah. But Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson didn't know that.
Yeah.
Neither did the producers, who suggested that. So, of course, they get the time booth, and Rufus becomes like a guy from the future who, champions Bill and Ted. So then we have this classic first movie where originally the idea was that Bill and Ted went back in time and like because of their goofy antics they cause all the horrible things.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
history.
remember, yeah.
Yeah. And
it's terrible.
To me, I'm like, that's so. It feels like not Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
like that feels like not the spirit of what those characters are.
Spirit,
yeah, because like, and I think they kind of saw that because I remember somewhere in an interview, Ed Solomon or Chris Madison, one of them talked about where they were like, we kind of had to grapple with like, well, that means that they caused like the Holocaust or something, and like we can't, like like it's like we can't do that, like you can't do that. It's sort of why like the, not to talk about the Minions, but it's why people have an issue with the plot of Minions, where they're like, oh, they find the evilest person that they can, and that's who they work underneath. Yeah, and conveniently in the Minions movie they skip over the time of World War II because it would imply the Minions were involved with the Nazis and like
they
so,
weren't
so now they just work with Facebook moms but
the most evil of them all.
All the Karens. But no, I think that was the right choice, obviously, because A, you don't want to have people asking those questions. And B, I think the version of the movie that we have now is so much more wholesome and like just more, it just makes you feel good. Man.
Yeah, such a feel good, all three of them.
Yeah, I mean, all three of them, even the second one, which takes quite a dark turn.
Yeah.
And even the third one takes quite a dark turn as well. But
it gets real serious.
Like, but I also think that the movies have to do that because Bill and Ted, part of the thing that makes it so entertaining to watch is, how these two guys who are like unaffected by, who have this positive attitude. Yeah. Someone described them as like Labrador retrievers. Like them being in those dark situations is entertaining to watch. Right. Not just because it's like funny, the juxtaposition, but also because it's like, I want to see how they're going to get out of it because they're so positive.
Yeah, optimistic about things. Yeah, they get thrown into hell and
and that first movie, one of my favorite things is how quickly they do the headbanging, and how quickly they become friends with all the people that they
scoop up,
kidnap. I guess because like Billy, you were dealing with the oddity of time travel with the greatest of ease. And the way Socrates, the way Socrates like takes the
football,
and I love the idea that Billy the Kid and Socrates,
best friends,
they became good buddies, figured out how to communicate with each other, found out that Bill and Ted were in trouble, figured out who the executioners were, what they looked like, got the robes, got the axes and busted them out. It is, I mean like
oh yeah,
to like in general that moment the reveal, spoilers for all three of the movies by the way, but the reveal of Billy and Socrates like saving Bill and Ted always makes me happy.
So damn funny.
It's so funny, and it's so like because it's like they just became friends with those two guys like right away.
Yeah,
like
they just picked them up like
and the way that all the historical figures at the end of the movie talk with such reverence about Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
like
they're like such outstanding examples.
Yeah, they're like, these guys are awesome, and you should listen to what they have to say. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. It is so, it just
so bro.
It just it's so bro. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And that first movie has so many great moments. One of my favorite moments is San Dimas High School football rules, because that guy's speech. It's like you. Honestly, I think whatever Bill and Ted did, even if Rufus didn't come to save them, anything was better than whatever that guy did. Because I remember he like his speech is like, now there's computers. Like that's his whole thing. So
you could tell he just really reluctantly told that speech. Like wrote out just like a page that he didn't want to read, but he's like, I got to do it for my project anyway. So even he could do something that Bill and Ted couldn't.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so funny. And Keanu is so like bouncy.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are so perfect. One of my favorite moments, like the perfect example of it, is at the end of the movie when they have to bust out the historical figures, and Bill's like, well, we just need to make sure that we do it, that after the report, we come back here, we leave your dad's keys somewhere. And Ted's like, but we don't know what happened to my dad's keys. That we stole, like someone stole them. And then Bill's like, well, what if we did? And then we'll just put them behind this sign. And Ted's like, hey, yeah, it was me who stole my dad's keys. Like the way he bounces, and
pop his
yeah,
head
the way
up.
his head like pops up, yeah. And even too when he goes. He's like, remember when I asked Missy to prom?
Shut up,
Ted! And he turns around and
smile.
Yeah, Ted does a little smile, and he cocks his head. He's so funny when he puts his head back in the hole at the
saloon.
Because there's the brothel behind the saloon or whatever, and all the girls are getting ready.
Billy has to pull it out.
Hey, look, it's a Goodyear blimp. I had to do a montage. I was working with a graphic design studio that Anna used to work at. Anna, my girlfriend. I mean, my compatriot for life. And they were working with a local bar, and the bar wanted like random like movie clips. They were thinking more like classic, like black and white, like old movie clips of like people in bars, people drinking, just stuff with like drinks. Yeah. And I made like a little movie montage as like a sample, and the last clip I used was like I ended the montage. They weren't going to play it with audio, but I set it all to music, so I had like a rhythm to work with. So the last clip is Bill and Ted, cheersing their.
We gotta remember this place.
Yeah, they didn't even card us, dude. Yeah, we have to remember this place. Yeah, that was the last bit.
Beers.
2 beers, please. The guy has like that.
Whoa.
We're with you, Billy the Kid. Yeah, the other great joke too I love is the whole episode is just us listing the jokes that we like.
Yeah.
Is put them in the Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, excellent. Execute them.
Bogus.
Speaking of bogus, our good buddy, friend of the pod, Duncan,
Duncan.
is also a graphic designer.
Yeah.
And he has a great NASA Bill and Ted t-shirt that Brandon is wearing right now.
Oh, yeah. For you, Duncan.
Which has the Circle K in the background, and it says bogus, and it has the time machine. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Bogus.
But yeah, that first movie is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And Keanu and Alex are perfect. Alex Winter, who also has a great performance in The Lost Boys. Which, we got to do an episode of Lost Boys this month or next month.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite stories that, if you're a fan of Bill and Ted, you've heard this story a million times before. But one of my favorite stories is that Chris and Ed, the writers who came up with Bill and Ted, they weren't there for the audition process or the casting process at all. So first day of shooting, they had no idea who Bill and Ted were, and they were kind of frustrated because they were like, "Oh man, no one's gonna really be able to play Bill and Ted like we're Bill and Ted, And they're at the McDonald's grabbing lunch, and they're in line behind these 2 guys who are just talking to each other, like bouncing off each other, like back and forth, kind of having a little banter. And Chris and Ed to themselves are like, those guys should be Bill and Ted. Like, those guys are like perfect, And as it turns out, of course, the end of the story is that it's Keanu and Alex who are in front of them at the McDonald's.
It's hilarious.
And yeah, I mean, but it's like they so exude those characters. People for a long time, I think now that we're in the Keanu-sance, nobody's saying this. But for a long time, like through when we were in high school, all the way until the first John Wick.
Yeah, people hated on him.
People just
I hated it.
Crapped on him all
off.
the time. Yeah, they were like, Keanu's not a good actor.
Yeah, I hated it.
And I'm like, there's definitely a difference between Neo and Ted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he also just got typecast a lot as like the stoic.
He went through a lot in
guy.
his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, losing his wife.
Yeah.
Or a former wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Yeah, and
really tragic life.
And I even remember I went to a workshop with like a acting coach lady from LA. And her example was, she was like, you need an agent. You need a good agent if you want to make it in this business. You don't even have to act. She was like, Keanu Reeves, he's not a good actor, but he's got a great agent, and that's why he's made it in the business. Jeez. And I'm like, maybe Keanu's not the greatest actor, but like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, ragging on him. Like, even if someone's good at just one performance, that's still a good, like, that's a pretty good actor. Yeah. And he doesn't have to be an asshole. Right. To fall into his roles, which is like, I like that better than,
such a bro.
Some other people.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, man. They're so perfect. Oh yeah. And they are Bill and Ted. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about Bill and Ted was because it's just, again, it's a duo, and it just makes me think about you and me. And
our picture in high school.
Yes. Yeah. So we did senior superlative. Yeah. We campaigned so hard. You and me. To vote for us. We were like, everyone, please vote for us for dynamic duo. Yeah. We were like, we need to get dynamic duo. Mm-hmm. And if I can, before the episode comes out, I will find the photo and I will. Oh yeah. I will share it.
It's in the yearbook.
Yeah, it's in the yearbook. Me and Brandon got dynamic duo, and we did the Bill and Ted pose for the picture. We did the hand on chest and the other hand out. Yeah.
Party on, dudes.
And that was the quote that we put in the book. And I remember when we told them what we wanted our quote to be. I remember, who was the journalism teacher?
Ligner.
Yeah, Miss Ligner. Oh, Miss Ligner. I remember she asked us, like, are you serious? Like, she was like, is that really what you want in there? And we both were like, yes. Yeah. Like, why would we be joking?
Positive.
Like, did you see the photo? And so that's what is in the yearbook. Yeah, the senior yearbook. Yeah. It makes me so happy every time I think about it. It's great. Like, I'm happy we left that part of our lives with that type of energy and positivity.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
One of my favorite stories that I read on Reddit was this kid, because there was this question that was like, what's a piece of information that you learned from a movie? And so this kid, he's telling this story. He's like, we had like a quiz, and the first group that could get the right answer would be able to go do recess like before anybody else, or like they would be able to go outside for the rest of the day. Yeah. And you had to answer the bonus question right, and the bonus question was, when is Abraham Lincoln's birthday? And no one knew the answer but this kid. He was like, I had watched Bill and Ted so many times that I had memorized Abraham Lincoln's birthday. When's your birthday? February 12th, 1809. And he got it right, and they got to go outside. Like, made me happy. I love that part too. And he's like, "That's Lincoln."
Not spelled Lincoln.
Why do you presume that I am not Sigmund Freud? It's so great, man. And they go to the mall, and there's that great gag with Sigmund Freud and the corn dog. And, they call him a geek, and I love Socrates. Geek. So good. And Joan of Arc, dude.
So funny.
That first movie is like perfect.
Such a perfect team. I love it.
It just,
so funny.
It just makes me happy. So the first Bill and Ted was shelved for like a year, as I found out. The studio was like, this sucks. Oh. Everyone was like this. And then the studio like went under.
Oh, man.
It got picked up by another group, and they did a test screening of it. And the test screening was like,
this is hilarious,
super positive. So they were like, okay, and like basically they released the movie and they immediately shot the second movie.
Nice.
And I think at the time too, that's also when the cartoon and the live action series,
TV show, it was all like back.
Which
to back.
I know very little about the live action series. Yeah. You were looking up a little bit of stuff, so tell me a little bit.
I don't know much on it either. Well, I guess aside from,
it seems we've reached an impasse.
Yeah, the series came out in 1992.
Okay, so that's after Bogus Journey.
Yeah, 8 episodes were filmed. The cartoon though was in 1990.
Okay, so that's like right at Bogus Journey.
Yeah, and Alex Winter and Keanu and George Carlin were in a few episodes, and then the guys who would go on to play both Bill and Ted and the live action took over.
Oh, interesting.
So the first 13 episodes was with Alex, George Carlin, and Keanu. And then they were replaced by Evan Richards and Christopher Kennedy.
Oh.
Evan Richards would go on to be in the Young Indiana Jones series.
The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But,
I remember if you have the Blu-ray of Excellent Adventure, there is an episode of the cartoon, and I think it's still with Keanu and Alex. And in that episode, it's so dumb. They just go to like ancient China to get noodles.
That's so dumb.
It's like, who is writing this show?
It's like all the weird spin-offs in the 90s.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters and Bill and Ted and
the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the real that was cool though.
Yeah.
Oh
no, my computer might have died.
Bill and Ted.
I know enough about Bill and Ted. I don't really need it, but so Bogus Journey. Originally, I think I talked about this in maybe the first episode of the pod, or maybe it's the second episode, but Bogus Journey, originally the studio was like, okay, here's what the movie's going to be. Bill and Ted have to write a book report. Oh, no. So they have to go through all the books. Oh, no. And they'll meet, like, instead of historical figures, they'll meet, like, famous book characters from, like, you know, like Huckleberry Finn or whatever. And like, if Bill and Ted was, say, like a TV show. Yeah. That, I think, would work. Been a good episode. That might work. Because it's like, the idea would be that you have, if the idea is that it's just like a, you know, episodic show, every episode you need to have a similar structure. Right. I think that kind of works. They go into a book, they, you know, like whatever. That kind of is okay. But as a sequel to the movie, I just can't imagine anything but Bogus Journey.
Almost too similar to, Yeah. Bogus Journey ended up being perfect.
Yeah. Well, so the original title, do you know it?
No.
It was Bill and Ted Go to Hell.
Oh, okay.
And which Kevin Smith called the most metal title I had ever heard for a sequel. Bill and Ted Go to Hell. And they pitched it. No one wanted to listen to Chris and Ed. Uh-huh. And then they pitched it to Alex and Keanu. And Alex and Keanu were like, well, we'll only make it if it's that. Because that sounds awesome. And it is. I mean, I almost like... A lot of people... It's always with sequels. Mm-hmm. People don't like the second one as much as the first one. Yeah. And I think the second one has elements that are maybe a little darker than the first one. Yeah. And, you know, maybe a little more like... cynical. Yeah. But I think the movie overall still has the positivity, the vibe, like weirdness of the first movie.
It's definitely a solid sequel.
I think so. I think
they still carry, you know, Bill and Ted perfectly, and it's nothing the same. It's all different. Yeah. It's a great follow-up.
Yeah. And I think like visually it is just so like so cool. So cool. I love the way that movie looks.
All their gags.
All the
so damn. I love when they're falling into hell.
Oh my god, yeah, the endless fall. There's a great T-shirt of that.
Yeah. Oh Mondo. Yeah.
The endless fall. Yeah. Want to play 20 questions? All of the nightmares in their personal hells are incredible. Like just the design, the wonkiness. So creepy. It's very like Tim Burton, Bo Welsh kind of almost.
So Fever. Fever Dream, man.
And I love the color schemes. Like you have like the blue for Bill's nightmare and the pink for the Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny.
You stole Deacon's Easter basket.
So creepy.
Me and Mia quote that all the time for no reason. It's not like we have like any. There's nothing that compels us to say it. We just constantly say that because of the voice of the Easter Bunny is so funny.
So creepy.
Deacon's Easter basket, like that kind of. It's so funny. And the death, like the Seventh Seal parody with death, and
when they're playing all the games,
so funny,
so damn funny.
And the way he's like, he's like best. Let me guess, best 5 out of 7.
They get fed up with death.
Damn right.
William Sadler.
He's so good, dude.
And isn't he the father at the end of the movie too? I think where they cut back where Bill and Ted's the music's played on the TV.
Oh yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
The family.
In the UK, the British family. Yeah,
pretty sure that was him.
I think that is him. Yeah. He's so funny. Funny. I talked about this previously, but the way that he's like insecure after he loses to them, and then he's like. he like wants to be their friend.
Yeah.
You know, like he's like desperately trying.
He
to,
wants like reinforcement.
Yeah, he wants them to. Yeah, like you know, he's like, hey, I helped. I made the hair for the robots.
Thanks, Death. Yeah.
Like he needs some reassurance.
Yeah.
Which they play that up so well. I don't want to talk about it yet, but they play that up with a new character in Face the Music.
Yeah.
Where like this character is desperately seeking like validation for Bill and Ted, and they are like sick of it. Like, and it just is the funniest thing. It's so good.
Seeing them get upset. It's
like, it's because like
as angry as they get.
Yeah, like they don't. It doesn't. It takes quite a lot to push them over the edge.
Yeah.
So when they do get mad, it's like
they're fucking like. Finally fed up.
Yeah, it's like I think the only time they're mad in the first movie is when Ted is talking about Missy.
Yeah,
and Bill like is like, "Shut up,
Ted."
Yeah, but so their relationship with Death continues that streak of like they just befriend everybody that they meet. You know, like and going to hell and heaven. I love the design of heaven.
Yeah,
in Bogus Journey, it's just very cool. It looks like an album cover.
Yeah, like a Alan Parsons project.
Yeah. And there was actually a guy on Twitter who photoshopped. He was like, "This is what Bill and Ted. This is what I think the Bill and Ted covers would be for the Criterion Collection." And his cover for Bogus Journey was that image of heaven with like the circular like lily pad looking cloud like structures and them standing with Death at the entrance. Like
so cool.
Yeah. And I love like Death talking to Ben Franklin and and he's trying to get in on the charades, the game of charades, and Station is just
Station.
I wish Station was in Face the Music, which I guess is kind of a spoiler, but
we had a little reference to it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But I just wonder like what happened to Station. But the last 45 minutes of Bogus Journey is insane. Like just visually, just the ideas in the movie, like Station building the good robot us's out of like hardware store junk, and like
so cool.
Station running at itself in the parking lot and becoming a giant station, and they're building it in the back of the van, and like I love how energetic that sequence is. I love like the energy, the momentum, the positivity. Like when they're like, "Whoa, look at the robots," and the robots do like the air guitar riff, like, but they're all stiff, and it's it's just so visually cool, like Death and a weird alien, and like the good robot us's, and like, and
love it.
Man, it is so good.
They were supposed to be chased by the nightmares from hell originally.
The original climax, and they shot like half of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and they dumped it. I think the budget, they couldn't finish the sequence.
Damn it.
Because I think the idea is that at the end of the sequence, somehow the nightmares went back to hell. But I don't know how that worked. Yeah. Maybe Death helped them.
That would have been cool.
I don't know. But man, that would have been a sick sequence of like that, like Station building the robots in the back and like them getting chased on the highway. You know, that would have been awesome.
That would have been creepy, man.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Granny S. Preston.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And then you have the ending, which to some degree feels like it wraps up the story.
Yeah.
Like you think that God gave rock and roll to you by Kiss.
Yeah.
To some degree, you know, you're watching it and you're like, well, that's the song that saves the universe.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story. But it does, but it also does feel like there's more to say about that, you know?
Right.
So finally we're here at Face the Music, which I'm so excited to talk to you about because...
It's so funny. I've seen it like 2 times.
We didn't get to, I've only watched it once, but I need to watch it again. We didn't get to watch it together. We didn't get to watch it in theaters. And we didn't talk about it after.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to talk to you about this. First of all, I love the continuation of the Missy joke where Missy is getting married to Deacon.
So damn funny.
And I remember Mia, my sister, was texting me when she was watching it. And she texted me, she's like, I'm watching Bill and Ted. And I'm like, oh, sick. What do you think? And she's like, Deacon and Missy, WTF. LeMayo. She's like,
such a great ongoing joke.
And I love the way they use Ted's dad in this movie.
It was great use of him.
Yeah, I wanted to just say spoilers. Because, you know, we're gonna spoil the third movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's actually a reduced price right now on VOD. It's $14.
Go buy it,
or
guys.
$15. So yeah, go watch it. It's so good. It'll just make you feel good.
So
just
worth
make you
it.
feel good about the last line of the movie in particular just made me. I'm like, thank you. Like I needed this.
Proper closure.
The last 6 months, I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
I've needed this so bad.
Yeah, it was a very good feel good movie.
Yeah. But anyway, so I love what they've done with his dad because his dad is so vehemently
doesn't believe.
Yeah, it's just you guys, it's not gonna happen. You gotta move on. And nothing that you say happen to you. And of course, there's too much to talk about with this movie.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the Dickensian, the Christmas Carol idea of Bill and Ted see different versions of themselves.
Yeah.
The ramifications of what's going to happen if they don't succeed or whatever. And then you get that really bizarre 2001 Space Odyssey sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. So that made me cry.
Yeah, dude. And it made me cry and laugh. The way, thanks for always being there for me, Bill.
Aww. It was it's so funny. It's so heartwarming. So goofy.
It's so funny and weird. And so the character that I wanted to talk about earlier is this robot is sent from the future to kill Bill and Ted, similar to the second movie. Which is also what I love about this movie. It's just a combination of the first and second movie with some new stuff where you have the time travel with the historical figures, and you have the death and hell and very bizarre the things like that. And then you have the new element of these alternate reality versions of Bill and Ted of what would happen if we didn't write the song, what would happen if the princesses left, what becomes of us, what happens if we do write the song, are we even happy, did it solve all the problems, or are we miserable? So I love that it combines all those things and brings in, Billy and Thea, the daughters, who are perfectly played by Bridget Lundy Payne and Samara Weaving.
Yeah.
Who is the niece to Hugo Weaving.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So kind of funny because Keanu kills her uncle
in
and
Matrix. Yeah. That's hilarious.
And now he's her uncle in the movie.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty
Didn't
crazy.
know that.
Yeah, she's great too. Have you seen Ready or Not? I haven't seen it, but I hear she's incredible in that.
That's what she was in.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
It is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays such a badass.
I wanted to see it when it came out, but I don't know why I didn't. I think no one wanted to see it with me, so I just didn't go
we should have gone to see it. That's something I regret not watching in theaters. I watched it about a month ago, and I think it's on HBO.
Oh, okay, sick. Yeah.
HBO Max, and my mom really liked that one too.
Yeah, I was so intrigued by that trailer. I was like, this seems hilarious and weird and wacky and awesome.
Really cool twist.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It was a ton of fun to watch. Really funny.
And I remember after that movie, everybody, all the stuff that I saw coming out of that movie was people were like, Samara Weaving is...
She was awesome.
Chef's kiss, awesome.
A little kid gets punched in the face. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's a great movie, man. Yeah, you watch it again. It was a lot of fun.
But yeah, so they're both really, really great.
Yeah.
And man, when Jimi Hendrix and...
Such a great reveal.
Jimi Hendrix and is it Mozart? Jimi Hendrix and Mozart musical battle.
Yeah.
Is not something I ever thought I'd see.
Yeah.
But it is something that I needed to see.
It was so cool.
In my life. That's one of my favorite moments in the movie. Yeah. And I remember when Mia was watching it, she was texting me and she was like, "Oh my god, I love this!" She was like, "That is just awesome."
It's so great,
and I love them showing Louis Armstrong video. And he doesn't really question the video. He's just like, "Wow, look at this guy! Look at this kid! Wow, he's great!"
All his friends run up and just, wow.
And I love. Billy filming Jimi Hendrix, like, and they're like bobbing to it, like rocking out, like, oh my god, they're so funny, and how intelligent they are, how knowledgeable they are about music, and like like the fact that they knew, well, if we could get Louis Armstrong, then we'll get Jimmy, and then we go get Mozart.
So funny.
Oh my god, it was just so good. But anyway, so there's this character who is a robot from the future sent to kill Bill and Ted because some people from the future believe that Bill and Ted... It's not that Bill and Ted's music will save the world on this particular moment in time. It's that their death will save the world.
That's messed up, dude.
Which I feel like doesn't get resolved as well as maybe it should. Dude. But
so sad.
Yeah. But so there's this robot played by... what's his name?
Anthony Carrigan.
Anthony Carrigan from Barry.
He played Victor Zsasz in Gotham.
Oh yeah.
And then he went on to play NoHo Hank in Barry, and he is outrageous.
And again,
Barry.
I haven't seen Barry, but everything. Everyone's like Anthony Carrigan steals the show in Barry.
He really does,
and he totally steals the show in this movie.
So damn.
He has maybe like 10 lines in the whole movie.
So funny though.
He's perfect. His delivery is hilarious.
I love Anthony Carrigan so much.
Like, so he comes across as this like horrible, evil robot. Yeah. But the first thing he does is accidentally zap Ted's dad.
Yeah, and sends him to hell.
And his reaction to that killed me. The way he's just like it's so small. Like he doesn't do a lot of movement.
Genuinely feels bad.
But
he's
just like
for being such a badass killbot.
And then when he zaps like the whole group of characters, I don't want to spoil too much, but when he zaps an entire group of characters, his reaction to that too is just
like, oh man, I did it again.
No, like, and he's so disappointed with himself that he's gonna zap himself. And Bill and Ted are like, no, you gotta zap us first.
They're all mad at each other.
But so like the reveal that his name is Dennis Caleb McCoy.
Yeah.
Was also like one of the funniest. Like I just
named him after my ex. So funny.
And so what I was talking about earlier, like when he's like, my name's actually Dennis, and they're like, okay, Dennis, well, let's go. He's like, Dennis Caleb McCoy. That's my name, Dennis Caleb McCoy. They're like, all right, dude, let's just go. Like, they're so mad at him.
So the pinnacle of Bill and Ted's anger is
just like the way that they're just like, oh my god, like shut up, like, come on, dude. Like we don't have time. That was so funny, dude. And William Sadler, of course he's in makeup, but he looks great.
Oh yeah,
he
still looks good as Death.
Perfect as Death still. Like he's hilarious.
Still Death.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
So funny.
Still insecure and like trying to He just wants... He's fishing for compliments constantly.
Wants more thunder.
Yeah. 40-minute bass solo.
Oh my gosh. 40-minute bass solo.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Death, you played a 40-minute bass solo.
You wanted the Wild Stallion's name, dude. It's so good, man. And the conclusion of the movie.
Right.
Like... Well, okay. Well, before that, the thing I was talking about with Ted's dad, I just love this arc that he like. Finally, he's like not an asshole anymore.
Finally believes.
Like finally, he's like, I get it now. Like there's it's like there's bigger fish to fry than just being a dick to my son.
Stomping on his dreams, no matter what he believes.
Yeah, and I love the way that Billy and Thea call Bill and Ted dads.
Dads, yeah.
Billy, Thea, dads. Yeah. It's just so good, man. And so the conclusion of the movie is so like it's perfect. Sometimes when there's like sort of a long-awaited conclusion to something, it's like it'll be better in your head or whatever. Like it's never gonna live up to what you want it to be. But like, it's perfect. It's so perfect. And I'm sitting there like weeping. Like I'm like sitting there like trying not to like
tears running down
burst into like sobbing because first of all, these characters and this world, like, it means a lot to me. Like, obviously, when I grew up watching
it's something I've been waiting for my entire life.
And so it's just something I've been, like, anticipating. Like, and I knew we would get to that moment where we hear the song and watch them play the song that saves the universe.
So your heart swells.
So yeah, it's there's a lot of emotion there, but also, like, I think just partly the world we live in right now.
Yep.
Like, it was just good to
very much needed.
Yeah, it was
just refreshing.
Good to
a soul refresher.
And the way that they incorporate the fans into the ending of the movie,
that was awesome.
And it really just brought it all together. Like, even if I don't know if we're in it, because there's a moment where it's like a giant grid of people.
Grid. I need to go back and pause it.
And I'm like, I need to pause it and see if we're in it. But it just made me feel. It just makes you feel good, man. Yeah. It taps into this. Everybody waited for it. Yeah,
they're so happy to have it.
It taps into this thing of, like, you want to help the world, and like I said, the last line of the movie, I don't want to spoil what it is. Yeah. But it does have to do with togetherness. Yeah. And, like, it's not about the song in particular. It's about the people playing it with each other and being connected. Throughout the world, and, like, I just got so, like, emotional because I connected with you through Bill and Ted, and, like, to see that they are connecting with each other again in this last movie, and, like, so the arc that they go through with the princesses, like, made me so happy. Like, it was depressing at first, but then like the way it concludes the end,
it all came full circle.
Makes me happy, and it's kind of a Star Wars reference. I don't know. We know. I'm like, okay, is that a Star Wars reference? I don't know. But the way all that comes together, and them connecting with their daughters, because recently, you and I have talked a lot about a project that involves, like, family and, like, of like the history of your family. Right. So I think about that a lot. Yeah. And that's, like, a major theme that I feel like comes up in a lot of stuff that we do. A lot of our ideas. Yeah. Just friendship and family and togetherness and, like, sort of if you can't, your children will, almost. Not necessarily that you should, like, live vicariously through your children, or that, like, your children are going to succeed where you didn't, like, but in the sense that, like, you as a parent always hope that your children come out better than you, and in a lot of ways they will be. It's always up to the next generation. Not that the last generation shouldn't do anything, but, like, that the next generation, passing the torch, and, like, the idea also that, like, as you get older, you fall into these ruts and these. You plateau kind of, especially in your thinking. A lot of people, the older you get, the harder it is to be like, oh, that thing that I had always believed was one way is actually not that way. I'll change how I think about it. That's hard to do. Yeah. When you're younger, it's easier to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna, that's not right. I don't want to think like that or do that thing or whatever. Right. So, like, all of those themes coming together, and, like, the weariness of time. I was, like, so sad at the idea that, like, the guy at the local music store was telling Ted, like, hey, I'll take that guitar off your hands for however cheap, much money. Like, and Ted being like, I thought about it, dude. That hurt, dude. Like, I was like, it's like, whoa. I was like, no. It hurts. Don't. Yeah. Like, it just, like, man. It's
God, I love that movie. Yeah. They really nailed it, and it just feels good, like a proper sequel. I liked it more than the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which was a lot of fun too. Yeah. But it kind of felt like it was just we're gonna do this because we're kind of old. We got to do this now. Where Bill and Ted just, like, didn't feel forced. It was such a natural ending. Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful.
Yeah, and it's great. I think something I don't think I quite finished my thought, but, like, the from way earlier on, but we've lived with Bill and Ted through other things. Yeah. Like, ever since Bill and Ted, you have Clerks, you have Jay and Silent Bob, you have Napoleon Dynamite, like
Wayne's World.
You have Wayne's World. This like positivity through, like, like, veiled stupidity. Yeah. Like, because it's not stupid. Like, it is, but it's not. Like, Bill and Ted aren't the smartest guys in the world, but, like, it's not stupid.
It takes a certain type of wit and smart to write something that stupid and funny.
Yeah, because if it was just stupid all the time, like then it wouldn't work. Like it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be as effective. There wouldn't be hundreds of thousands of people sending in videos to maybe be part of the third Bill and Ted movie. Yeah. Like it just makes you feel good.
Oh yeah.
You know, and like I want to be like Bill and Ted. Yeah. I want to exude that energy and positivity, and I hope that to some degree we do.
I think we do.
You know,
definitely. It's definitely had an influence on my life personally, forever.
Yeah.
So, totally.
I think about it a lot. I think about like, you know, every time I think about high school, I always think about it through the lens of like me and you were very much like Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah.
Not that we were like that bad. We weren't like you know, Caesar is the salad dressing dude, or that Joan of Arc was Noah's wife. Just one of my favorite jokes. But the joke that kills me even better than that is when they're leaving school and he's like, well, who was Noah's wife? Like, it's just totally got the wrong.
They're just trying to they're just putting words together to try to make connections.
Yeah. The one that I always think about is, oh man, we're late, dude. For what? School, man. Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Oh yeah, school.
Totally forgot that they had school. Yeah,
they just woke up so early they forgot that they had school.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god. I think that the legacy of the Bill and Ted movies, Creaky Chair. I think the legacy of the Bill and Ted movies is such that, you know, it truly is what they say. Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
Yeah. You know, just like be kind and, you know, live life to the fullest, which is kind of like they don't listen to themselves in that third movie.
Right.
You know, because they're not very kind to themselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were so obsessed with getting the song, writing the song and finishing the song, that they kind of like
got lost in the sauce.
They got lost. And I think there's something very like, now that we have this completed trilogy, I think watching it all together, there's just something really beautiful about it all, even though it's about these two, you know, goofy dudes like who just want to play music and they go to heaven and hell forever, and they, you know, hang out with Billy the Kid and Socrates. Like,
cool.
It's just, there's something very like poignant about the whole thing, and something so like simple. And I know that Chris and Ed, the writers, you know, they both have said, if the only thing that we put out into this world was be excellent to each other and party on dudes, we
be proud.
Then we've done our job. Like we don't need to have done anything else.
That's so nice to know.
You know, and there's an interview where they talked about, they were like, they're writing Bill and Ted, I think Bogus Journey, and they're like, imagine we're writing Bill and Ted when we're, you know, in our 30s or whatever, like, or 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, we're still writing them. And I think at that moment, you know, he's like, oh God, like, oh, this is the only thing we're ever going to write. But now, you know, I think there's this realization that he has of like,
we did it.
Like we put a message out into the world and people heard it.
And they cameo in all three of them as well.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So I didn't tell you. So in the first movie, Chris and Ed are the Ziggy Piggy employees who feed Napoleon the ice cream. Ziggy Piggy.
It's always so demoralizing.
Cracks me up every time.
It drives me nuts.
It's so funny. And in the second movie, they're at the seance.
Yeah.
With Missy. Mm-hmm. I forget, one of them says something really silly about like, I want to talk to somebody, I forget. And in the third one, they are the two demons.
That was them!
As they're walking through hell, and they're like, have you seen like two girls and a bunch of, and they're like, oh yeah, they went that way. Yeah, so that's Chris and Ed again.
Okay, I was going to bring that part up right now.
Yeah.
As well.
And that was that was the moment where I was like, is that Chris and Ed? And I was like, nah, maybe it's probably not. So I was like, where are they? And then I saw someone on Twitter like posted that they screenshot from all three movies where they were in, and they had the
holy trifecta.
I was like, yes, I knew it. Yeah.
Well, that's really rad.
Yeah. Oh man, what do you? So any final thoughts about Bill and Ted, man?
I loved it, man. It was the perfect ending, I think, for me. It's something that I've been waiting for forever. I always I remember watching Bogus Journey as a kid and asking, is there a third one? Nope. There's only those two. I was like, oh. So something that I never expected. Mm-hmm. I was okay with having just Bogus Journey, but I always wanted another one, especially with older Keanu and older Alex.
Yeah.
And them just stepping right into it. You forget that they're Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter.
Yeah.
They just step right back into the shoes, and it feels like home again.
It really does. And it's crazy that Alex Winter retired from acting after Bogus Journey.
Yeah, he's like a documentary director.
Yeah,
does documentarian. Yeah.
And this was basically his return to acting. Other than the short he directed with Paul Rudd and Stephen Hawking, where they're playing fourth dimensional chess or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And Keanu Reeves is the narrator.
That's hilarious.
And there's a moment.
I've never seen this.
It's great. There's a moment where because they're talking about the what is it in Ant-Man,
the quantum.
Yeah, it's quantum chess. That's what it is. It's quantum chess. If you look it up, it's great. But there's a moment where Paul Rudd is getting annoyed by Keanu's narration, so he goes, "Shut up, Ted!" And then Alex Winter pops up from behind the table that Paul Rudd's playing on chess on the computer, and Alex Winter pops up and he goes, "Yeah, shut up, Ted!" And it is so funny, man. I remember when that came out, it was trending, and everybody was like, "What the hell is this?" Quantum chess with Paul Rudd and Stephen Hawking.
Who's it actually Stephen Hawking?
It's actually Stephen Hawking.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It is very strange. It's a weird little video.
That sounds so weird.
I don't remember what it was for.
Huh.
I don't remember what it was for. It was for some kind of
so bizarre
event or something.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
But it exists, and it is very strange. Very strange indeed. Quantum chess with Paul Rudd and Stephen Hawking.
That's so funny.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up, everyone listening.
Keanu Reeves. It was for Caltech.
Oh, it was for Caltech?
It was a Caltech video, yes.
Yeah.
That's so funny, dude. That is hilarious.
So, what should the question of the week, of the day, of the pod, what should the question be before we let everyone escape the video?
Favorite duos and favorite time travel movies.
What? Yeah, time travel duos, I mean, it doesn't have to be a time travel duo.
Yeah.
We're kind of closing it off. Now, there is a time travel trio.
Ooh.
Did you ever watch that?
Time Warp Trio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love the Time Warp Trio. Dude.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was reading the books. I mean, not recently, but I read the books growing up.
Yeah.
They were so cool.
Yeah. The show was on Discovery Kids.
That was a cool book series and cartoon.
Yeah.
I really liked reading those books.
There's a lot of interesting, children's literature.
Yeah.
About kids who travel through time.
I think that's why I always just wanted to make a time travel movie.
Me too. I think because did you ever read The Magic Treehouse? I feel like that one was more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Magic Treehouse I also loved because they just traveled through time.
Yeah,
it was
it's pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I love Time Warp Trio. What was another book series? Man, I read all the sci-fi stuff as a kid, and all my teachers would get really mad at me. There's more stuff other than sci-fi. You should try reading some nonfiction. And then I just started reading stuff about astronauts.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's the question of the week is favorite duos.
Yeah, duos.
Favorite duos. Tell us a little bit about it.
Or time travel stories.
Yeah. Or time travel. Yeah. Duos or time travel.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that because we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing your stories, and we love you.
Oh yeah, love your ears.
Thank you guys for listening. If you want to support the show, just share it. But also, you can support the show on Patreon.com/Truman Pictures. You can also, if you want to send us a message through our website is TrumanPictures.com.
Yeah.
And of course, you can follow us on all social medias. Just look up Truman Pictures. That's where you'll find us.
Type in the Video Vault.
Yes, the Video Vault. And if you're interested in being able to read a transcription of what we are saying, we do upload this show to YouTube, which does have like automated closed captions.
Yeah.
They're not always perfect, but I was checking it out earlier today, and the closed captions are pretty good on the YouTube videos.
Just have to know my voice and Skyler's voice.
Yeah. So until we can hire someone to actually transcribe the entire podcast,
until then,
you can watch the YouTube videos and you can read the closed captioning on there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening.
Oh yeah.
We have been your hosts,
Brandon
and Skyler. Thank you for visiting
the Video Vault.
Tune in next time as we kick off our month of horror. And remember, be excellent to each other. And party on, dude!